Which F-150 powertrain is the best to purchase? We're going to find that out in today's video by comparing all of the major powertrains. I'll include a link to the Ford Drapers website in the description down below. They're providing us with all of the F-150s. Ask for Johnny if you have any questions. Let's get into it. This week's giveaway highlight is the insane Richard Petty Hellcat. If you're interested, use code BHC or click the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment. This will give you 4x bonus entries on any donation, $25 or more. Let's start with the top dog powertrain, the PowerBoost. Hybrid twin turbo 3.5 liter V6 goes through at 10 speed. Fuel economy is 22 around town, 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 430 horsepower, 570 pound-feet of torque. Now the max towing capacity with the PowerBoost is 12,700 pounds if equipped properly. And the truck we have today probably won't be at that range because it's a King Ranch, you know, the extra weight and everything, it kind of decreases the capacity a bit. And the thing that's the most telling is the payload, 1276. So like, yeah, you're gonna be maxed out with the tongue payload issue. And weight really is one of the downsides of the PowerBoost. Anyways, it's about 1,900 bucks as an option with most of the F-150s. Let's see how it performs. Setting off in the hybrid King Ranch. One thing that is cool about the whole hybrid setup is that Pro Power on board. Having the extra outlet capacity and everything for work is great. Especially with a ranch truck like this, right? Now, the powertrain performance is relatively seamless. You can feel a little bit of, I wouldn't call it kickback, but kind of at low speeds. You can almost feel like you feel the engine shutting off and then the transmission a little bit. I don't know, it's just very perceivable. It's very perceivable. Boy, oh boy, does this have torque. Oh, the glove, what the heck? Why is that glove box open? It's very smooth delivery. Now when I'm going down the road, it's comfortable. And I barely have to get into the throttle with this. It's hovering right around 1,500 RPMs. It's pretty quiet too. Now part of that is a lot of F-150s like this one, you know, acoustic glass, so that helps out with the sound insulation. And they just have it up front. I haven't seen a single F-150 with it in the back. Seems like the engine's on most of the time. It's not like Toyota's hybrids where the engine's like off a lot more often. Oh, buddy. Yeah, that's a powerful engine. I think the hybrid, kind of like what you see with Toyotas, it adds more on the low end rather than the top end. It's kind of more about giving you, and I mean, you look at standard EcoBoost producing 500 pound-feet of torque, and this is 570. And then horsepower 400 to 430, so yeah, the biggest benefit is torque. But 100 pound-feet of torque, yeah, you'll feel that. But it is also, you know, an F-150 is not a lightweight. I mean, they're all over 5,000 pounds. So, great setup. Comfortable, quiet, pretty smooth. The top end is going to be a little bit more abrasive. It is just V6 power delivery. I have yet to, well, I think Acura's twin turbo V6 is pretty smooth even at the top end. So there's a few exceptions, but most V6s, yeah, they're choppy. They are choppy, including a hybrid. But the low end choppiness is kind of helped out by having some electric juice. Now the standard 3.5 EcoBoost that goes through a 10-speed as well produces 400 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque, fuel economy 16 around town, 24 on the highway. Now max towing on this is 13,500 pounds if equipped properly. And this one should be pretty darn close to that with how it is optioned out. Now because this doesn't have the extra weight of the hybrid, you've got 1,620 pounds of payload capacity. Now on higher trims like this, the EcoBoost is a no-cost option, but if you get a more baseline F-150, you are going to have to pay a bit of money for the powertrain. Let's try out the EcoBoost. On paper, even though this gets slightly worse fuel economy, really the highway is the same. It's around town that the hybrid gets the benefit, and that is if you keep the truck stock. With hybrids, if you add more aggressive tires, bigger tires, whatever it may be, your fuel economy goes down quickly because, again, that hybrid system's only working with roughly 30 horsepower and 70 pound-feet of torque, and so you do bigger tires and it's going to struggle to move the extra weight, and so it's just going to have to use the engine more often, and then you don't really get better fuel economy. You pair that with the extra weight, meaning you get less payload. Like this has so much more payload. And it does make, that's awkward. There you go. Should have fixed that earlier. Anyways, it does make a difference. Just making sure that was wind noise. Yeah, see, this does the same thing as the PowerBoost pretty much. It's got that smooth low-end torque. It's pretty seamless. There is a little bit of a boost with the PowerBoost, but it's not that big. You know, I'm comparing that PowerBoost to Toyota because they obviously have the hybrid Tundra. And it really does appear that the Toyota powertrain kind of makes more of a difference with their hybrid. And you look at the torque figures, and it kind of makes sense because Toyota's adding, and they're going from 479 to 583. And they're going from 389 to 437. So their hybrid's actually pushing more power into the system. This is more engine when you have the PowerBoost. This one's obviously not the PowerBoost. Yeah, this is nice. Again, the torque's great. Yeah, see, and when you get into it, it feels pretty much just as quick. And I think part of that's also the weight, right? This weighs less. So even though it has less power on paper, it's a lighter vehicle. To conclude, this is a toughin', as they say. Tough one, toughin', get it? So far, I like this EcoBoost. I mean, just looking at the spreadsheet, higher towing capacity, higher payload, barely less fuel economy, especially in the real world, and you know, seamless performance. Yeah, this one's looking like it's, so far, it's ahead in the race. Next in line is the 5-liter V8. It goes through a 10-speed automatic. It produces 400 horsepower, 410 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy 16 around town, 24 on the highway, so it actually matches the EcoBoost in fuel economy. Max towing on this is a bit less than the EcoBoost at 13,000 pounds. And this one is set up to where it should be able to be pretty close to that range. Now, surprisingly, it actually has less payload than the EcoBoost, 1446, and this truck is equipped pretty similar to that EcoBoost F-150. I'm talking about the V6 one, not the hybrid. Just like the EcoBoost, this is a no-cost option on higher trims, but on lower trims, you are going to have to pay a little bit of money for it. Now, I will say this is certainly the most exciting of the F-150 powertrains, just because of the sound and also the power delivery, as you will see momentarily. I don't know what this Mercedes is doing, but they definitely aren't turning. They're halfway in the road. Why are people, please tell me, yeah, okay, now they're moving. Never mind, I won't rant too much. But yeah, I just noticed this trend of people just sitting literally in the middle of the road, not driving. I just, it's so weird. What's wrong? It's like people's brains are breaking. Now, it doesn't have nearly as much torque. Oh, man. Sounds good, though. Yeah, it doesn't have nearly as much torque as the 3.5 EcoBoost. So you got to ring it out a bit more, but I don't mind ringing it out because it sounds phenomenal. It's a V8. What more could you ask for? And when you're just kind of going around, just like the EcoBoost, you know, it's relatively low RPMs. Smooth too. Smoother than the EcoBoost, I would say. It's hard to beat a V8. Very hard to beat a V8. Yeah, see, here it's like it's pretty quiet. You get like a little rumble, but it's not messing around too much, not causing too much commotion. Better way to put it. Yeah, it is slower. It's definitely slower. But it sounds good. It's the price you pay for beautiful noises. So, to conclude the 5.0, well, if you're using your brain, you're going to pick the EcoBoost because of the higher towing, the torque, and you know, these 5.0 V8s aren't perfect. They have some issues. The EcoBoost is actually probably a more reliable powertrain, believe it or not. Planned obsolescence with the V8s, right? Am I right? I'm looking at you, Ford and Ram and Chevy. Come on. But that aside, if you're thinking with your heart, then yeah, the V8. I mean, it's, you know, you can use a little bit of brain. It's close enough to the EcoBoost in terms of capability, and it sounds better and it's cooler. What do you drive? I drive a 5.0 F-150. My truck's got some guts. So that's the 5.0. The final powertrain is a turbo 2.7 liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic, 325 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy with this is 18 around town, 23 on the highway. Max towing with this is the lowest at about 10,000 pounds. And this truck, just like the other two configuration-wise, is going to be relatively close to that. Now, payload on this is 1,595 pounds, so it's kind of in between. Interesting. Now, for the lower end packages, no cost option. I think for some of the higher trims that this is still available, it is a credit. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. And then at the very top end, you can't even get this powertrain. So it's kind of more of a low end powertrain, but let's see how it performs. This one's got a column shifter, so that's a little bit different. Now, this is the new baseline. I don't think Ford's building the 3.3 V6 anymore. I haven't seen one in years. That engine was gutless anyways, so. And plus, like, reliability-wise, these 2.7s are pretty darn good. So is the 3.5, so yeah. I don't miss the 3.3 if it is truly gone, and I think it is. Smooth. Smooth. This thing's torquey again. This has barely less torque than that 5.0 we were just in. It's obviously got quite a bit less horsepower. But yeah, with the torque being that strong, it does make a difference. That is certain. That's smooth. Yeah, you can tell it doesn't have as much horsepower. It doesn't have the top end of any of the other powertrains. And that's one downside of the 2.7. Now, it feels quick enough, because it just doesn't have a top end. So what that really means is, like, on the interstate, the other F-150s, they got passing power. This, not so much. But it's not the end of the world. You can definitely work with it. No problem. No problem. Now this is the only truck out of the bunch that we're testing that doesn't have acoustic glass, by the way, so I can't really tell you if the engine's actually quieter or noisier, because that is going to change the overall perception of things. But what I can say is that it's not bad with the noise. It's not bad. The payload thing still baffles me, because this should have more payload since the base model has less weight in the truck. But who knows? Yeah, again, it just doesn't have the top end. Doesn't have the top end, but it's still got turbo torque, so it feels good. Feels good. And we were bouncing around a bit. This leads us into some conclusions. So, which engine should you get? Well, I think the PowerBoost, excuse me, I think the PowerBoost is out. I think it's overly complicated, doesn't provide much benefit. Goodbye. That leaves us with the 3-reel engine options. Now, between the 3.5 and the 5.0, I kind of already went over that. So, it's head versus heart with those two. And then with this 2.7, I think more people should drive this 2.7, because I think a lot of people would find that this is more than enough power, more than enough towing. And the trucks that the 2.7's in, right? I can't talk. English is apparently a second language, even though it's my first language. They're more basic, but they're kind of everything you need and nothing you don't need. So I think that that's what you should do. Go test out the 2.7. Go test out the trucks that the 2.7 lives in. And you'll be like, you know what? I thought I needed an XLT. I thought I needed a Lariat. But really, the STX with the 2.7's got more than enough power. It's comfortable enough. It's got enough features. And I saved myself $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. So if you're using your head big time, you're doing some big brain energy stuff, the 2.7 in a more basic truck is probably going to be the F-150 to go for. Let me know your favorite powertrain option.